Hello everybody and a very warm welcome to Crafters TV. Welcome to Thursday if you've just joined us for the first time today. What time is it? Just gone 2 o'clock here in the UK. We are going to bring you a masterclass on all things stamping and ink pads. Lots of questions, please, from you. We are very much basing this show on you. So the more questions, the more requests you've got, the better, really. We've already got a few coming at the back end of our cartload show. So we'll be obviously starting where the questions were. But if you want to ask anything when it comes to the different type of ink pads that we've got, the different things that you can stamp onto, the different tools that you can use to do your stamping, blending tools, all those different kind of things. We want the questions from you, please. You do the hard work in this show. That's what we'd like. And we'll make it nice and interactive. There are loads of goodies on this show as well. An Inkpad Taster Bag, which I'll take you through in just a second. We've got a stamping goodie bag. We've got loads of bundles of all of the different ink pads that we do as well. If you shop the day, you'll be able to see all of those different items right there. So delve into the website. And whilst you're there, don't forget, still got our mix and match 3 for 2 on various items on the web, and those brilliant deals on the digital downloadable paper pads as well. So plenty to have a look at on the website. I will say a few hellos in just a few moments time, but let's say the most important hello to the lovely Lily, who is to the side at studio. I know you've probably got plenty to be getting on with over the course of the next hour or so, but we'd rather do stuff for the people, wouldn't we, Lily?
Absolutely. A man of the people over there. Absolutely, yes. So any questions that you guys at home have, whether it's about your water-active ink pads, the best ink pad for stamping, the best ink pad for colouring, whatever your question when it comes to ink pads, I've got them all lined up to the side of me here. I want to get you to get all those questions in. We're primed, we're ready to answer all those questions. So please, ask away. As we always say, there's no such thing as a silly question. So any question you might have, we'll do our very question. We'll do our very question.
Yeah, so our very
best to answer your questions. And I'll also do my very best to get my words out. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, we'll all keep our fingers crossed we can speak and put a sentence together. Helps, doesn't it?
It does.
I've been a bit like that this week, to be honest with you.
I need to get my teeth in today.
I know.
My gosh.
Stephen Nicole joins us saying, good afternoon, Ben and Lily. Stephen, we've got your question from the last show. We'll tackle that in a bit. Elsie joins us saying, Ben, Lily, Jan, team and all, hello. Hello, Lois in Ohio. Hello. Laurie's joined us in Gilbert, Arizona. Faye Smith joins us in Virginia. And Angie Hatton says hello from the Shetland Islands.
Ooh, nice.
Not had
a new one on me, that,
yeah.
I think. As of the earlier show, we are looking for anybody in different places that we've not heard from before. We had Portugal earlier today. Let us know, Shetland Islands, where are you? Where are you watching from? Let us know.
Yeah. Even if it's a different place, like, you know, in the UK or the US, doesn't necessarily need to be like I mean, it'd be great if it's a different country, but maybe you've never chirped up before and gone, oh, my place never gets a mention. Well, you know, we can't mention you if you don't say hello. So come on, say hello. Where are you watching from? We've got Amani from Kentucky. We've definitely mentioned Kentucky. Louise Burton joins us. Betsy Throop Black says hello from Houston, Texas.
Hello.
Hello also to Sister P4 in Central Maryland. And Pat Demarest, who says hello from a beautiful New Jersey. Penelope Goddard says, hello, I'm a relative beginner.
Ooh.
So any tips and help for a starter, please? Well, I mean, we'll please you with whatever we tell you then, basically, won't we, over the course of this show? And C. Turner says, hello all from New York. Let's have a look at this Inkpad Taster Bag, shall we? Is that what we're doing first of all? And then we will get on to... Are we going to do the questions in the order we got them, Lily?
Shall we? Yeah.
Yeah. So the first one will be how to prep a new stamp.
Yep. We're ready.
The Inkpad Taster Bag, though, you'll have to come down here and have a look. It is brilliant, actually, and the value of the bag is incredible. It basically works out that you're paying for the rocker block duo that you've got there, so you pay for those two. And again, if that's something you want to talk about, rocker blocks, the different stamping platforms we've got, fire up the questions. You pay for this, and then you also pay for the Enchanted Ocean Duet ink pads. Works out then that all of the other ink pads that we're giving you here and your round blending tool you are getting for absolutely nothing. So round blending tool is coming to you. You're also going to get one of our gold pearlescent pigment ink pads in the flame pink. You're going to get your sandstorm, that's in the opaque. You're going to get one of our duet colour blooms in the summer bouquet. You're going to get the water reactive crushed velvet. You're going to get the quick dry in the Friar Brown. We're going to give you another one of our opaque pigment ink pads in the Misty Morning. And then lastly, you've got the Midas Metallic Pigment ink pad in the Blusher. Lovely selection of some of the very best ink pads we do. And actually, if you are someone like Penelope, who's fairly new to it all, a great way to dip your toe into the water and try lots of the different ink pads that we have on offer for you. And again, if I've just gone through this and you've gone, well, what's an opaque ink pad? What's a quick dry ink pad? How are they all different? Ask the questions. It's over to you, and we'll explain as much as we can as we go. Evie Harley says hello from Falkirk. Don't think I've mentioned Falkirk before. No. There we go. Carol Garwell Beard is in Rapid City, South Dakota, the Mount Rushmore state. I've definitely mentioned you before, Carol, but I don't know if we've ever heard that you're in Rapid City. Diana says, hello, Ben and Lily. I was doing my ironing. I'm watching the show. I'm from Fareham, and I was thrilled when you mentioned Fareham in your song that I've been everywhere. Well, Diana, I did it just for you. Keep the comments coming through, but let's get started. So the first question, Lily, we had on the earlier show was from Denise, who wanted to know how we go about when we get a new stamp. How do we prep it?
That is a fabulous question, Denise, and I tell you, this is one we get literally time and time again, so it's always a great one to revisit. So, when it comes to priming a stamp, unfortunately, none of the stamps that I've got here are brand new, but we'll imagine they are brand new. So, when it comes to a new stamp, whether it's a large stamp, small stamp, whatever sort of stamp, we talk quite often about priming our stamp. Now, what we mean by that is quite often when you have a brand new stamp, they will still have, and it's not really something you can see, it's kind of there without being visible, if that makes sense. You will have often a bit of manufacturing residue onto your stamp, and all that will mean is the first stamp, I always say the first stamp is your worst stamp. If that makes sense. So the first
stamp, baby, you know, the first stamp is the worst stamp. When it comes to doing stamping, she knows. Johnny set me off there.
That is brilliant. I didn't know the show was going to be a musical, but I'm all here for it. I love it. I'll have to try and set you up for another song at some point. I'll try and
brilliant
that in. First stamp is the worst stamp.
No.
Can we have that recorded, please? That can be your next song.
Yeah, maybe it could be.
We can all be in the background, just,
Swaying away.
give me one of them.
Getting your phones in the air like that.
First stamp is the worst stamp. Holding a stamp in the air like that. You can see it all now. Anyway, that's what we'll be doing after the show. Anyway, so as we said, the first time that you stamp that out, it's going to give you the worst impression, just because there might be some residue on that stamp. So in terms of priming up, there's a few different sort of schools of thought. So one that I will never, ever, 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 ever recommend doing is some people will say to take sandpaper or a nail file and sand it back. I will never recommend doing that, because you can very, very easily take that surface of the stamp off, which is absolutely not what we want, because then it will effectively not stamp properly at all. And then it won't be a case of the first stamp is the worst stamp. So another one you can do is you can actually take an eraser, you can just rub over the surface of there. Another very easy one that you can do is you can take some sticky tape or low-tack tape and just go all over that stamp multiple times, and that will pick up any residue that's on the stamp, will be picked up onto that sticky tape. So that's another option you can do in terms of priming your stamps. Another one that a lot of people like to do, and it's a very quick and easy one to do, is to take one of your watermark ink pads, which is your clear ink pad that you quite often will use for your embossing. You'll take your ink pad. Oh my goodness, look at the state of that.
Oh,
Somebody's even had a nibble at the side of that.
Yeah.
My gosh, good job we're not doing any heat embossing with this.
Yikes.
And all we're going to do is we're just going to ink up that stamp just as we would normally. And then all we'll do after that, we'll leave that ink on the stamp. We've not stamped it out or cleaned it off. We'll take whatever ink pad that we want to stamp in. So in this instance, we're going to take our waterproof dye ink pad. We'll grab our ink pad, if I can get the lid off that is, there we go. And we're just going to ink up all of that stamp. And what happens is by using that watermark ink pad, it will just allow this ink pad to grab to that image a little bit easier. And then if we take a piece of white cardstock here, obviously I'm using a rocker block, but you could be using this with any of our stamping platforms. And we're just going to rock from heel all the way up to toe. And you can see there you get an absolutely perfect, crisp, clean impression just by priming your stamps. And that's something you only ever need to do when they are brand new and never been used before. When you come to use this again, you don't need to prime it once more. It's just that for that very first use. You can see there you get that absolutely perfect. I mean, look how crisp that is. Stunning. And the stamps that we're using for this one are part of a bundle that we'll have a little look at later on in the show.
Excellent stuff. Yeah, that, if you like those stamps, comes from our stamping goodie bag, which we've got for you on the show. Alison Marr joins us from a sunny Craig Dam in Aberdeenshire.
Ooh.
I'm going to pronounce your name wrong, and I apologise in advance. Is it Päivi in Finland?
Oh, wow.
Päivi K? You have to let me know if I pronounce that right. There's an umlaut on the A. I'm not quite sure how that works in Finnish. But welcome if you're new to us. We love that. Lynn joins us in Newcastle, and Rhonda says, good morning, Lord Ben, Lady, Lily, Team Social crew, and all my crazy, creative, crafty friends from Oak Park. So we had some more questions come in. One of the questions from Susie was about different surfaces that you can stamp onto. I mean, does that lend itself also to talk around the different types of ink pad that we've got in this taster bag, do you think?
Absolutely. Should we have a little talk about sort of stamping inks? So when it comes to stamping, we've got tons and tons of different inks, and some of them, I say, are more blending sort of technique based inks. Some of them are more stamping inks. So when it comes to stamping, our number one ink pad that we talk about when it comes to stamping to get that crisp, clean stamps image is our quick dry ink pad. So this is the colour that you're going to get as part of that collection, our Friar Brown. So I'll grab another of our sentiments here. Let's go in with our little cha-ching. We'll take our rocker block once again, and we'll just ink up our stamp using our quick dry. Now with the quick dry, a little bit different in terms of the look and sort of material of that ink pad. It's almost like a sponge sort of surface on there, quite a soft ink pad. And what you need to do with your quick dry, because it's quite a soft surface of the ink pad, you don't want to exert a lot of pressure when you're inking up your stamp. If we bring in actually one of our water reactives and we place that next to it, you can see with your water reactive it's more of like a felt pad, so it's a little bit firmer, whereas your quick dry, and it's the same with your pigments, are quite soft, so you don't want to be really squeezing that ink into that stamp. You just want to gently tap all over that surface. And then all you'll do is you'll just stamp onto your card. Here we're using a light coloured card, and then you can see if we stamp like so, you get that lovely stamped impression just like that. So that's your quick dry. Any sort of stamping, your quick dry are pretty much the go-to for me.
Yeah.
The only exception for me personally is if I'm stamping a sentiment in black and I just want to leave it in black, I'm not adding any sort of colour, I will tend to go for either my waterproof or my alcohol proof. I just find if I want that crisp black, they work a little bit better for me. But any sort of colour stamping, whether it's your layering stamps, just a sentiment in colour, then your quick dry are the ones to go for. Now these don't actually work as well onto dark coloured cards. If I bring back in a piece of your black card, it won't work as well onto your black card. So I'll show you the sort of difference because your quick dries have been designed, with them being a dye-based ink, they've been designed more for your light colours of cards. So if we stamp out onto your black, you can see you can't really see it very much whatsoever.
No.
So if you were thinking about stamping onto your black cardstock, although your quick dries are sort of the gold standard when it comes to your stamping, if you're going to go for something like your Midas Metallic, which you get in the bundle, or your Pigment Pearl ones, they will work a little bit better. So I'll just make sure that stamp is nice and dry before I re-ink it back up. And then we'll take our Flame Pink, which is part of that bundle
yeah, it is,
that I've just shown you. And we'll just take that to our stamp. And because these are pigment based, they're going to show a lot better, and especially with that metallic pigment in there, it'll show a lot better onto our black card. So we'll ink that up once again. Yep. Same sort of idea, taking our ink pad to our stamp to get an even coverage of ink. And once again, we'll just stamp out our sentiment, and that you can see that a lot better. Catch that in the light, you can see it a lot better on our black compared to
yes,
our quick dry.
Shimmering there.
And as we dry it, if we can get it in the right position, ooh, it's like a game, it's like an arcade game. There you go.
Oh, perfect.
And as it dries, that shimmer will sort of come out a bit more, so you'll be able to see that a little bit better. So if you're wanting to stamp on your dark card, just using an ink pad, then your shimmers will be a better one to go for. If you are using your opaque pigments, which we've got a few of here, your opaque pigments, if you've got the pure white one, that will work onto your black card stamping. Obviously, the darker colours will still not show very well, but if you're using something like a pale colour, we'll give the Misty Morning a go. Actually, we've got the Misty Morning in the bundle.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that works onto our black card. So we'll just dry off our stamp once again.
Are you more of a rocker block stamper, are you, than a platform, or do you kind of swap between the two?
That is a good question. Now, very much horses for courses. It depends what sort of technique I'm doing. If I'm using a really large stamp, then I'll definitely go for my platform. But because I'm doing quite a lot of quick sort of repetitive stamping, I find for things like sentiments, your rocker blocks are nice and quick. So you can see it a little bit on there. If we catch it in the light with our Misty Morning, you can see that. But if you were to use your white, that will show a little bit better. Now, if you really wanted something to show really well on a dark card, what I'd be doing is I'd be using your embossing powders.
Yes.
So I'd stamp either with my pigment, or I'd stamp with the one that we've just used to prime with. You stamp with your translucent, you pop your embossing powders over the top, and that will give you the best image onto black card.
And any of our, so obviously we talk about I always think like the original range, so our opaque pigment ink pads, but anyone that are pigment, we can do the heat embossing technique with as well. So things like the pearlescent in the gold and the silver, we can heat emboss with those as well, right?
Yes, absolutely we can. So any sort of pigment, what we mean by pigment is basically it dries a lot slower. So it's basically the polar opposite of our quick dry. Quick dry super quick, clues in the name there. Your opaque pigment, you could call them our slow drying ink pads, but it doesn't sound great, does
No, it doesn't.
These are our slow drying ink pads, but them being slow drying is almost like their superpower, if you like. So it means you've got time to get your embossing powder over the top and do a little bit of heat embossing. I'm not going to show you that just yet because that will be the answer to one of our questions in a little while. So I'll save that for now.
Keep the questions coming in. As I say, I mean, we're prepared to go as long as you want to go. If you don't ask the questions, I mean, we might be finished in 5 minutes. No, keep the questions coming through. So we've had questions about stamping on different surfaces, and we can kind of put Stephen's question into that as well, because he's asked about the best ink for acetate. So is that something that we can look at now?
Absolutely. That is what I was saving my heat embossing for. So when it comes to your acetate is it's a shiny surface, a non-porous surface, so it's a little bit different to cardstock, which is made of fibres. The ink will soak in, and that's how it dries. If you stamp with something like a quick dry, a water reactive, or an opaque pigment onto your acetate, it just simply won't dry. If you do have a Stays-On ink pad in your Crafty Stash, which is another brand of ink pad, we don't sell it here at Crafters TV, that will work. But if you don't, we have to think about what we've got in our Crafty Stash that will work. So this is where our opaque pigments come back in. So we're talking earlier about how these will dry slowly, how we can do our heat embossing, and it's exactly the same with our acetate. We can actually heat emboss onto our acetate. So I did test this before the show. It's definitely a piece of heat resistant, so we will be fine.
Yeah.
But it's always a top tip to make sure you keep your heat resistant acetate and your regular acetate separate. I tend to keep mine in the packaging just to make sure that I don't make the mistake of using the wrong one. And I'm just grabbing one of the stamp sets here from our Meadow Foliage, which is part of that Art Elements kit that we've got over on the web. I'm just going to take one of these little stamps here. Now, I would be rubbing over this with my anti-static bag. However, where that's gone, I've got no idea. So if we do get a few little flecks, then that will be why. So just imagine I've just rubbed over that with an anti-static bag. And then we're going to take one of our opaque pigment ink pads. Now, any colour of these will work, any colour you like, depends on the sort of effect you want to create. You can even do ombre effects or that sort of thing as well with these. So we'll take our Midnight, just so it's a nice sort of dark, bold colour, so you can see this nicely on camera, fingers crossed. And we're just going to ink this up. Now, if you're not confident with stamping, then your stencil and stamp platform is brilliant, because it's almost like having a bit of an extra pair of hands, if you like, and you've got that security of being able to go in and re-stamp if you like. But if you're confident with your rocker blocks, then they are a fabulous tool. You can see there we've stamped our image onto the centre of our acetate. Now, if we left that as it is, it would, quite frankly, it would never dry and it would smudge as soon as you touch it. So what we're going to do is we are going to bring in some of our embossing powder. This is just our clear embossing powder, which means it's going to basically allow our ink to sort of set, as well as giving it a nice little glossy finish. Oh, I don't know what that is there in the embossing powder.
Oh.
I'll get rid of that. Oh, it's a bit of a die cut.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it's a bit of a die cut there. Let's get rid of that. Scoop nail came back out again.
Scoop nail, oh yeah. I remember that last time with your touch of sparkle.
Yeah,
Scoop
well,
nail.
I did that the other week in front of George, and it made him feel sick.
What?
The scoop nail, yeah, he really
Why?
didn't like it. It made him feel a bit queasy.
Why?
I don't know. He didn't like it, so yeah, scoop nail came back out again, especially for George.
Oh, I might message him later on and just type scoop nail.
We need to clip out that section of the show and just
hey,
give
George,
him nightmares.
something you might like.
Here's the scoop nail back in action. The stuff for nightmares for him. Anyway, so that we can see that it sort of gives a little bit of a frosty effect. It sort of dulls down that colour a little bit onto our stamping. So all we need to do at this point is bring in our heat tool, and we need a heat tool in order to melt that embossing powder and then allow it to set onto our image. So tend to warm up our heat tool just off our image, rather than going directly onto that powder sort of straight off. Just warm that heat tool off ever so slightly. And I tell you, if you've got that bundle we showed you a little bit earlier on with the craft mat in, it's an ideal surface to have underneath when you're embossing. And then just hold it on one area at a time, and as soon as that starts to change, as soon as you can start to see that blue colour fully, then just move on. And
this is for you, Helen. You just said Lily mentioned heat embossing. Would you be able to demonstrate it? She's doing it now for you.
Doing it. We're on it already. Head of the curve. There we go. Simple as that. I know it was only a little small image, but just to show you the sort of thing you can do. So I'm not going to touch it straight away because it will still be warm, but as soon as that's dried, as soon as that's cooled down, that will be set onto your acetate there. So it's a perfect way that you can stamp onto your acetate. It's not going to smudge now, so obviously we've put our embossing powder over the top. We do have a few flecks around the edge there, but if you did use your anti-static bag, you'd be fine in terms of that. But for me, that's the sort of the best way that we can stamp onto acetate. Get yourself your opaque pigment ink pads, any colour, pop some of your clear embossing powder over the top, and that will give you that perfect stamp onto acetate.
Brilliant. The questions are trickling through now, so appreciate these. And listen, we're happy for, if you want to talk more about ink pads, let's do it. If you want to talk more about the kind of papers that you can stamp on, let's do it. If you want to talk about rocker blocks, stamping platforms, different blending tools, like we are open to whatever questions you like. That's what we're here for. Gillian's just saying, as well as being VE Day today, it's my son Jack's 19th birthday. We'll be celebrating later when he gets home from college. Well, happy birthday to your son Jack, Gillian. Question from Love to Create LC, who says, what is the best way to pick/place a large stamp to avoid bubbles and uneven stamping?
Oh, that is a good question, a very good question. Unfortunately, I don't have a big stamp here, so we'll just have to imagine the stamps are larger than they are, but it's the same sort of idea that I can show you here. So any sort of large stamp, I always use my stamp platform. Whether you've got our brand new one, which is the one which has got that little sort of tacky mat in the centre, whether you've got the older one, which is the magnetic, it's the same sort of idea. It's ideal for any stamp that's up to 8 inches by 8 inches in size. So it's great for all those really large stamps. The way that I tend to use my stamping platform in terms of positioning my stamps is I'll pop my cardstock in there first. Whatever. Oh, I've stuck myself to the mat then.
Oh,
it certainly is
so sticky.
Stuck the button to the mat. pop your cardstock in first, and then what I'll do is I'll take my stamp. Once again, just guys at home, imagining this is a nice big stamp, and I'll pop my stamp onto that surface first. Rather than popping it onto that lid, I'll always put it face down onto my card. That will also help you position it a lot easier. You can get it exactly where you want onto that cardstock. Then what I'll do, I'll bring in my lid there.
Yep.
I'll hover that over the top, and then what I'll do is I'll exert a fair bit of pressure just to make sure I've got pressure all over that stamp there, and that will sort of iron out all of those air bubbles. Then if you turn it over, you should be able to sort of see on the reverse if there is any air bubbles, you can usually sort of see them. And if you are a little bit concerned, just turn it over, just give that stamp a little bit of a pat just to feel whether there's any air bubbles, but you should be absolutely fine as long as you're picking up that stamp, exerting a nice bit of pressure rather than just picking it up by just going like that. That can give you a few air bubbles, making sure that you've applied that pressure, and then that should kind of iron out all of those air bubbles, and you should be good to go to get that perfect image.
Hi to Jeffrey, who's joined us, saying joyous Thursday, Lord Ben and Lady Lily, and the magnificent crew.
It's the second time we've been called Lord and Lady. I'm quite liking this. It's,
oh yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Lady
Lord
Lily.
and Lady Craft. Hi to Faye, says the camera work is awesome on the close-ups, just as the cameras are broken as well.
Yeah.
He's having problems with his close-ups. Oh, he's fixed it now, apparently. And Colin says, love that on the acetate. I never think to do that on the heat-resistant acetate. So thank you, Lily, says Colin.
You're very welcome, Colin.
Did you say to look in this bag, or are we going on with more questions? Okay, we'll look at this bag, and then I've got another one. Well, let me give Lily a heads up. So, well, actually, no, I'll ask in a second.
Oh, keeping me in suspense here.
Well, Susie's is, I really wondered about the different types of card. What is regular card? What is alcohol card? What is watercolour card? I mean, we can talk about that.
Absolutely, we will.
And also, just to give you a heads up, Helen is asking about if we don't have an anti-static bag, what we can use as a substitute. So that's what we're going to look at. This is the stamping goodie bag. Details on your screen here. If you want to get the stamp that Lily was just using a few moments ago, that's in the Vintage Vegas collection. It is You're the Jackpot. You're getting 14 different stamps in there. This is such a fun collection, one of my favourites of last year. You've got Cha-Ching, You're the Jackpot, Fabulous Birthday, All In to Win, Your Ace. There's loads of great different stamps in there. You've also got within this set, actually, creator card dies as well. So you've got that beautiful patchwork creator card die, which is the Morning Sunrise. We've got you sentiments from the Majestic Unicorn collection. So those are all stamps. Be a unicorn in a field full of horses. You are magical. Have a magical day. You've then got a beautiful little love letter stamp and die set, which is super cute because you can stamp out the detail of the envelope onto the actual die cut that out, and then it allows you to slot in your little love note, and you've got the little sentiment to go with that. Or, of course, you could put your own little message on there too. You've then got the Wilderness Voyager. That is from our outline stamp and die sets. The wolf there. So you've got him in die form, and then you've got a stamp which says, wishing you a wild birthday. I mean, this is more like a stamp and die goodie bag, really, because this one, the bee from the Flora and Fauna, is a beautiful stamp and die set. You've also got the lovebirds. Again, you've got that cute stamp of the little lovebirds there and the die to be able to cut those out. And then you've also got your 9-piece Grateful and Blessed stamp and die set. Should be nearly £68, $87. See the platinum price on your screen there. A really nice price for that. And as I say, a great way for you to be able to enhance your crafty stash or get started with all things stamping. And how brilliant, if you are new to it today, you've got everything that you need to kind of be able to work with the different ink pads and the tools and the rocker blocks in there. And then you've got loads of stamps in that goodie bag as well. It's only going to set you back about £40 if you're platinum for the whole shebang. So, questions. What do you want to do first? Susie's question about the different papers?
Yeah, should we do the papers first? So, and it's something I know I'm really guilty of. Whenever I say normal card, it's sort of assuming that everyone at home knows what normal card is. But I know if you guys at home, if you are new to crafting, it's not as simple as, well, what is normal card? So, when I talk about normal card, I tend to refer to what was formerly known as our white stamping card. These days known as maybe just card or multi-purpose card.
Be a squiggle soon.
Well, it could be called anything, couldn't it? It'd just be a little hyphen, that'd be its name.
Yeah.
But it's our, what I'd call a regular standard card. So it's 300 GSM. It's not a specialist card, so it's not been designed specifically for water-based. It's not been designed specifically, that's the one. Shouldn't have tried to say that word, should I? Specifically for your alcohol markers. It's just a great all-round cardstock. Great for your stamping if you're not adding colour, because it's 300 GSM. It's great for your card bases, great for your constructions. If you're just stamping an image and leaving it as it is, i.e. you're not colouring in, you're not adding water, this is the one to go for. It's the card that I use the majority of the time for my crafting. So that's your regular multi-purpose stamping card, whatever sort of card we're calling it these days. That's your first one. Then your next up is your, and if we compare, they all look quite similar. They can sometimes be slightly varying shades of white, but the next one up is our alcohol marker card. Now this is a little bit of a pattern emerging here. We seem to be changing the name of our cardstock left, right and centre, because this one is formerly known as Nina. These days it's just alcohol marker card, which is great because it makes it so much easier for us guys at home to remember exactly what we're using this cardstock for. Alcohol marker card is for use with our alcohol markers. So whether it's our Classiques, our Tri-Blends, our Illustrators, any of our alcohol-based pens, this is the card to go for. Reason being, this is a super, super smooth cardstock. If we contrast it with our regular multi-purpose card, even though that's still quite a smooth cardstock, that in comparison is super, super smooth. And what that means, it's going to give you the best blend. When you're using your alcohol-based pens, it's going to give you the best blend onto that cardstock. So any alcohol pens, go for your alcohol marker card, and yes, it will stamp perfectly as well. And then finally, we have got our watercolour card, and this is the one that looks the most different to the others. I know it's difficult to see on screen, but this has got a little bit of a texture to it. You can feel it as you run your hands over the surface. You can feel it's not a super smooth card. It's got like almost a little bit like the skinning of an orange, if you like. That's
a really good way to describe it, yeah.
That sort of pit into it, but a little bit more subtle. So it's got that slight texture to it, and that's going to allow it to take water a lot better than all the others. Although with your regular card, it will take alcohol pens, it will take water to some degree. With your watercolour card, that is sort of the gold standard when it comes to any water-based medium, and that is literally any water-based medium, whether it's your paints, whether it's your aqua pens, those tricolour aquas that we had on the earlier show. Anytime you're adding water, this is the one to go for. You can stamp onto it, of course. It has got that slight texture, but it will still stamp beautifully. I wouldn't be using my alcohol pens on it. Use the right cardstock for the right medium. Anything water-based, your watercolour card is the one to go for. So hopefully that helps in terms of this sort of the three main players in terms of your white cardstocks.
Excellent news. And the other question that we've got currently, by the way, we are then looking for more questions. So if you're thinking, oh, he'll never ask mine, I will. If you get yours in, I'll ask it.
That sounds a bit threatening. I will.
I will. I'll ask you a question. I will. No, come on, get the questions in, please. And here's the other thing. You know, maybe ask questions for the newbies you might be too afraid to ask them. Come on, let's refresh your memories on all things stamping. It's been a brilliant first half hour. You need to keep that up. Keep the questions coming.
Blimey, me poor people at home, they'll be quaking in the boots now. I will.
So Helen's question was about what we do or what we use if we don't have an anti-static bag. Is there a substitute? Any ideas what we could do for that?
I believe you can use talcum powder. I believe.
Right.
But it's not as good because obviously you're going to have the residue and then you're going to have to sort of brush it off afterwards. So your gold standard is your anti-static. However, if you don't, and what I should have done if I would have had more time when we did our little leaf earlier, what you'll do is you'll stamp as normal, and then before you heat emboss, before you set it, you'll notice the little specks around the edge. What you can do at that point is just get a little fine paintbrush, dry paintbrush, and just sort of sweep away all that excess around the edge, and that will help you a little bit if you can't use an anti-static bag. Another question's come in. Ooh. Just in time before I started a song and dance routine. Oh, not another? Oh, no. Stamp, it's the worst stamp. Rose Lippett. Hi, Ben and Lily. Hello. How do you ink an embossing folder? Oh, and do you spray with water first or afterwards if you were going to do that as well? Great question. Unfortunately, I don't believe I've got any embossing folders here, Rose, which is a shame. But we'll just have to imagine we've got an embossing folder. So with an embossing folder, you can use a range of different ink pads actually to ink it up if you're going to do that sort of letterpress style technique. So your water reactives, they will work a treat. Your pigments, they will work a treat. And I'll tell you what you can do with your pigments as well. Once you've embossed it, you can then add your clear embossing powder over the top and heat emboss. It'll be like double embossed. You'll have dry embossing, you'll have heat embossing all in one, which is pretty cool. So you can use your opaque pigments, you can use your duets, you can use your colour blooms, you can use your shimmers. And all you're going to do, let's pretend that this is our embossing folder that we've just opened out. It looks very similar, very little difference there. But you're going to take so you've opened up your embossing folder. You're going to decide whether you want to have the emboss or the deboss. So that depends what side you're going to ink onto. You're going to take your ink pad. You're going to ink all of that design. Some people will use a brayer. If you find it easy to use a brayer, then by all means go ahead and do that. But you're just inking all over that design using your ink pad. And then at that point, you're going to pop your cardstock in and run it through the die cutting machine. I don't tend to spritz it with water. You can do if you want to. If you were going to do that, what I do is I do my inking up, give it a little spritz, find sort of mist or water, pop your cardstock in, close your folder and straight through the embossing machine. One of the key sort of top tips when it comes to letterpressing is as soon as you shut that folder, make sure it's not sort of like wobbling about all over the place. Make sure you sort of keep it clamped shut, because what can happen is if that cardstock moves within the folder, you can get almost like you know when you get a double stamp, when you stamp and you sort of rock a little bit, you can get that sort of effect, which is not exactly what we want. So just make sure that folder is nicely clamped shut, and then as soon as it's embossed, take it clean out the folder and you'll be good to go.
We're going to have a short break. We've got 2 more questions banked. Add yours to that bank of questions, please. That would be brilliant. The more questions you ask, the better, because that's what these masterclasses are all about. So Sandy, I've got your question. Hilary, got your question. Any more for any more? Get them in. If you're not asking questions, maybe you want to check out your baskets. You can do that now. Don't forget, over on the website, our digital paper pads, downloadable pads, very, very good value for money currently. And of course, you've got our mix and match, our 3 for 2s on various items across the web. So go have a look, and we'll meet you back here in 4 minutes' time.
Hey you, the CC crew, you show us what to make, what to buy, how to do. Hey you, the CC crew, Ben, Sarah, Craig, Debbie, Boogaloo. Hey you, the CC crew, carry on the programme as we all need you. Hey you, the CC crew, you keep us all company and we can't do without you. I thought that was really good. And I feel like I should go, wow, wow, wow.
A few weeks ago on the show, we were talking about places where all you guys lived. Well, we might have used Google Earth just to have a bit of a sneaky look at the village, town, or city that you lived in. And I thought it might be quite funny if I wrote a little ditty and I put on my Facebook page, where do y'all live? And I'll put your towns and cities and village into my little song. But I didn't realize that there would be about 425 responses. So I'm gonna cram as many places into this song as I can, but I won't get them all in. We craft everywhere, man. We craft everywhere. From over here to there, man. We craft everywhere. In crafters we've got our share, man. We craft everywhere. We craft in Lydney, Lynbrook, Launceston, Lehana, Tampa, Darlington, Alma Beach, Sedalia, Wills Point, Widnes, Wildwood, Weldon, Marchant, Tackwell Lake, Walkerburn, Yate, Bay, Hesperia, Sublimity, Pinho, Avon, Freeport, Mableton, San Jose, Enumclaw, Great Bend, Detroit, Keniston. We craft everywhere, man. We craft everywhere. From over here to there, man. We craft everywhere. In crafters we've got our share, man. We craft everywhere. Craft in Parachute, Paradise, Pollocksville, Papillion, Sheepshead Bay, St. Petersburg, Seacon, Sutton, Saturday, Bristol, Brighton, Brooklyn, Blackwell, Barnsley, Tide Squeeze, South Shields, Temple Hills and Bentley, Tampa, Pillar, Tucumcari, Cary, Ottawa, Hull, Harrisburg, Lexington, Tupelo, Cincinnati, Austinburg. We craft everywhere, man. We craft everywhere. From over here to there, man. We craft everywhere. In crafters we've got our share, man. We craft everywhere. Craft in Loxahatchee, Lakesville, Lawrence, Lacey, Livermore, Albuquerque, Weeki-Wachee, Pensacola, Ellsworth Park, Mechanicsburg, Williamsburg, Rebella, Houston, Burlington, Wet Wang, Market, Drayton, Yale, Method, Wellington, Wapakoneta, Homer, Sassa, Santa Rosa, Wichita, Honolulu, Riverdale, Melbourne, Commerce, Fintana. We craft everywhere, man. We craft everywhere. From over here to there, man. We craft everywhere. In crafters we've got our share, man. We craft everywhere. Grafton, Newton Abbey, Richmond, Dudley, Georgetown, East Kilbride, Eugene, Ferrum, Rhinewood, Walkerstown, Newarheim, Fort Wayne, Gloucester, Chester, Long Beach, Raphael, St. Dominic, St. Cloud, St. Augustine Beach, Sand Springs, Romford, Tulsa, Traverse City, Wesley Chapel, Ballarat, Medina, Ramble City. We craft everywhere, man. We craft everywhere. From over here to there, man. We craft everywhere. In crafters, we've got our share, man. We craft everywhere. Craft in Saarbrücken, Tucson, Kissimmee, Philadelphia, Chicago, Las Vegas, Biloxi, Latte, Elmira, Glendale, Scottsdale, Anchorage, and Hurtville, Seattle, Gold Canyon, Ipswich, Cumberland, Unionville, Toledo, Miami, Atlanta, Cleveland, Gold Canyon, Altoona, Calounda, Port Orange, Clover, Rising Sun. We craft everywhere, man. We craft everywhere. From over here to there, man. We craft everywhere. In crafters, we've got our share, man. We craft everywhere. And there's a few more places I didn't manage to get into the song. West Runton, Newcastle, Kingswood, Sandbach, Carlisle, Bewdley, Albury, Durham, Springfield, Ashington. We craft in Greenville, Lincoln, Nebraska, Sumter, Oak Park, Winchester, Knapp Hill, Stoke-on-Trent, Mount Pocono, Greenville, Charlotte, Oxon Hill, Tunbridge Wells, Modesto, Haverhill, Sierra Vista, Arecibo, Morgantown, O'Fallon, Aurora, Black Forest. We craft in Hermiston, Brownsburg, Henderson, Socorro, Fort Myers, Manningham, Hilliard, Farmingdale, East Moline, Summers Point, Calgary, Charleston, Salisbury, Malden, Galloway, Fitchburg, Hopewell, Aberdeen, Winstead, Castlewood, Chatsworth, Limestone, Victoria, Willoughby, Rockland, Canton, Falmouth, Conestoga, Lyndhurst, Ashbourne, and Cluj-Napoca. Oh yeah.
Yeehaw. Yeehaw. Thank you so much, Lily and Ben, says Susie. So helpful. And Jen says, good morning. A little late. I slept in this morning. Well, that's all right. Don't mind the nice little cheeky lying. Sandy, we've got your question. Hilary, got your question. Amanda, we have your question and we will answer those very quickly. I feel like we will do your question first, Hilary, because it comes off the back of what I'm about to show you are Duet Inkpads. This is the full 12-piece collection. Details on your screen there, the price today, obviously platinum price. Obviously take a note, you guys know about this by now. But our amazing Duet Inkpads, you get 12 within the bundle here. These are our hybrid water-based inks, but of course one ink pad, two colours. They react when you add that water. And the question which we're going to come on to from Hilary is about the colour bloom ink pads, where you need to dry the ink before you actually spritz, before you get them to bloom. And that's something that we will chat about. But you get the 12 different colours you're seeing here. And this board just sort of demonstrates the colours that you can draw out from each of the primary colours that you've got within the ink pad. So pomegranate, you've got your pink grapefruit, pumpkin patch, beautiful summer bouquet. These are some of the more interesting colours for me. If you like the nebula, I absolutely love. The anemone, that beautiful shoal. You've got willow river, dusk orchid, stargazer, hellebore, and then your rose cloud. They all come in that teardrop design for you as well. Makes it nice and easy for you to take it into the cardstock. And as I say, you get the 12 colours across the range right there. So let's talk about these and get on to Hilary's question. Oh my goodness me, 3 more questions coming in. This is brilliant.
It's after you threatening them.
I know.
It worked.
So after I threaten them,
I will.
I will ask you a question. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. But if you have a question, I will have it and I will ask it. So the question is, do you need to dry the ink here before you spritz? Can you get away with it without drying it? What's like the official line with these?
So the official line is dry it. You can get away with not drying it. I've been there, done that on many occasions, but you will get the best effect by drying it. So we'll have a little bit of a play with them, given we've been asked about them. So I've got a piece of our watercolour cardstock. Reason being is we're going to be adding some water, so it's going to give us the best results by using our watercolour card. Taking that summer bouquet, which is what we've got as part of that collection there, and you can see that lovely teardrop shape, really easy and ergonomic to use. And I'm literally just going to take my ink pad directly to that cardstock. You can of course use your blending tools, your blending sponges, your blending brushes, whatever you find easiest, but just to lay down plenty of colour nice and quickly, we're going to go directly from our ink pad onto our card. I have to apologise, my glass mat has been rocking. I'm not quite sure why. I think it's ever slightly uneven, so if you can hear a clunk every now and again, blame the glass mat.
There's another one over here. Do you want to swap it? Oh no, there isn't.
It's all right.
No, like, it's not a glass mat at all. Oh, there is one down here.
Oh,
yeah.
It's like pantomime, this blooming egg.
Oh no.
I think probably the issue is, It'll be fine. I'll make sure I'll remove it come tonight's show so we don't have to hear that clonking about through cartload. So we've got our colour laid down onto there. You can see it's quite shiny onto there while it's still wet. So at this point we'll bring in our heat gun and we'll just blast this dry ever so quickly using our heat tools. So just going over that ink there and using the speed 2 just so it's nice and warm and nice and quick to...
Speed 2.
Speed 2. Go full speed ahead here.
Terrible movie that, wasn't it?
Living life on the edge
Speed 2.
there.
Yeah.
Just dry it on back as well just to make sure it's nice and flat. Just making sure that's fully dry. And then once we're happy that that's nice and dry and set onto that, we'll bring in our spritzer. And all we've got in our spritzer is we've just got a little bit of water. Not a lot there, definitely a little bit of water, hopefully enough. We'll soon see. And we're just going to spritz onto that colour there. So just giving that a nice spritz over that colour. Can you see? You can see it quite nice in the centre there where there's quite a lot of colour. It's starting to go a bit more pink. So it started off very orange. You can see it's starting to go a little bit more pink in the centre.
And the longer you leave it, the more it's going to draw out, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So a little bit like your water reactives, where the longer you leave your water, the more it's going to sort of bleach out. The longer you leave your water on there, the more time that's got to sort of change colour, if you like. So you can see a little bit in the centre. I have to say, some of the colours, it's more prominent, the colour difference than others. I think the blues are really good in showing a real colour differential. But even on that summer bouquet, you can see in the centre there how it's starting to go a little bit more pink. So top tip is definitely heat dry before you add your water, and then you're going to get the best colour separation onto your cardstock.
Excellent. So Sandy's question.
Oh yeah?
What is the best way to clean the ink off of your stamps?
Fabulous question, Sandy, and we have got a little solution for you, pun intended, with our stamping solution, which you will find over on the shop of the day. So I have to say I'm terrible for cleaning stamps, so it's going to be a case of do as I say, not as I do. So imagine your stamp is dirty. You've just used your stamp here. You're going to grab your stamp cleaning solution here. If you've got the stamp cleaning station, of course you can use it alongside that, but if you don't have that in your crafty stash, you can use your solution like so. And all you're going to do is you're just going to spray your solution all over your stamp there. It's a clear solution, so it's nice and easy to work with. And then all you're going to do is you're just going to rub that into your stamp. And when your stamp's covered in ink, this is just going to get all of that ink off the stamp and onto your cloth. So just using a cloth or a piece of kitchen towel that we're using here. And then just make sure it's nice and dry. Make sure that solution is definitely cleaned off your stamp, and that'll make sure your stamp is good as new. You can run them under warm soapy water, so using something like a soap or a washing up liquid, but the best sort of solution you've got is your solution. Oh dear, made that joke twice. It's never funny the second time round, is it? There you go. But we've got our fabulous stamp cleaning solution, which is the best way to clean all of your stamps.
Penelope, who said at the start of the show, I think fairly new to stamping, was saying that any tips that we could give would be good tips. But she's basically said, what would you recommend as the basic essentials? You know, if you're just starting off like Penelope as a beginner stamper. I mean, this is a good start, isn't it, here?
Absolutely. That's a fantastic collection because you're getting a sample of lots and lots of different types of ink pads. But in terms of a basic kit, in terms of sort of everything you'll need self-contained to get stamping, first of all, of course, you're going to need some sort of ink. So depending on what sort of crafter you are, what sort of crafts you like to get involved in, depends on what sort of ink is going to be best for you. If you are just interested in stamping pretty much, rather than stamping or colouring, just for stamping, invest in some quick dry ink pads. So whatever sort of colours speak to you, go for those. But quick dry ink pads are the best in terms of your stamping. So that's your quick dry ink pads. If you are somebody who loves your watercolour and you know that you're going to be doing a lot of stamping to then watercolour those stamps, then go for a waterproof ink pad. Conversely, if you prefer your alcohol colouring, you're going to be doing a lot of alcohol pen colouring, then go for an alcohol-proof ink pad. So ink pad is the first thing you need. Second of all, it's going to be some sort of stamping tool or stamping platform. And we've got tons and tons of different options when it comes to your stamping platforms and stamping tools. You've got, of course, got your stencil and stamp platform, which is great for those larger stamps, great if you're a little bit less confident when it comes to stamping. We also had our magnetic stamping platform, which is an option. I love my rocker blocks, and I know we've got these as part of the bundle. If you like to do a lot of sort of repeat stamping, then your rocker blocks are absolutely fantastic. So rocker block, stamping platform, any sort of tool to stamp with, something you're going to basically mount your stamps onto, because as they come straight out of the packet, we can't stamp with them like that. We need them placed onto a platform or a rocker block to actually be able to stamp with them. So your ink pad, your platform, of course you'll need your stamps itself, and then you'll need some cardstock. So if you're going for your white multi-purpose card, that's great for stamping. That's pretty much all you need is a basic starter kit to get started with. Then you can basically just grow from there, add in your different ink pads, add in your different colouring mediums, your embossing powders, and really the world is your oyster when it comes to stamping.
Can I just bolt on to that question? So you talk about rocker blocks and stamping platforms. Is there... Does the rocker block have some sort of superpower over the stamping platform and vice versa, or is it just really sort of whatever's your favourite, whatever you find easiest?
That's a great question, actually. A lot of it is, I know, it's got gold star for Ben there.
Thank
great
you.
Question. Top tier question, that one. Yes, take a bow. Take a bow.
Thank you so much.
Part of it is definitely down to personal preference, but for me, I use both of them interchangeably. And the key difference for me when it comes to either a platform or a rocker block is, first of all, the size of a stamp. So if I'm going to be stamping something really, really large, we can worry whether we're going to miss a little bit of that stamp, whether we're going to stamp it perfectly first time. If I'm using a stamping platform, then the beauty of these is you can go back in and re-stamp as many times as you need to make sure you've filled out that image. So large stamps, I would definitely be using with my stamping platform. The superpower, if you like, for me with your rocker blocks is they're very, very quick and easy to stamp with. It's literally a case of rock, move on to the next one, rock, move on to the next one, and so on and so forth. If I'm creating a background with multiple stamping, perhaps I was going to take one of these lovely leaf designs from this set here, and I wanted to create an all-over pattern on a background with that leaf. It's so much quicker to just pop that leaf onto my rocker block. So I'll just grab that leaf, pop it onto my rocker block, and I can literally just go all over my background, all over my piece of cardstock, and stamp very, very quickly. It's not as quick, it's not as sort of repetitive when it comes to this. This is more for a larger stamp, for me personally anyway, more for a larger stamp or a stamp that's got lots of detail that I'm a little bit more concerned about getting all the detail. Something that's going to be quick, repetitive stamping your rock blocks for me an absolute go-to. But as always, as with anything, there is a certain degree of personal preference.
Hilary, I'll ask your second question in a minute. You just made me laugh there. She says, I have another question because I'm scared of Ben.
Oh!
Yes, ask the questions, otherwise you'll feel my wrath.
And if you think he won't ask them, I will.
Yes. Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Oh, no.
Incredible Hulk. Incredible Hulk. So I turned purple instead. Turn purple and rip my shirt off. Anyway, so Amanda says, sorry I joined late. It's fine.
No.
It's fine.
Is it? Is it fine? Will
No,
you
it's
allow
not.
that? No, Amanda, you made him angry.
She says, what cardstock is best for alcohol markers? She says, I have the quick dry dyes to stamp with, as they don't bleed when colouring in alcohol markers, but what card is best?
So when it comes to alcohol pens, and I'll just step to one side, and I'm going to grab my alcohol-proof ink pad here. So when it comes to stamping and colouring your alcohol markers, you're going to want to start off with your alcohol-proof ink pad. So alcohol-proof, as the name suggests, nice and easy, nice and simple. They are not going to bleed, they're not going to smudge when you add your alcohol pens over the top. With your quick dry ink pads, I wouldn't recommend a quick dry for use with your alcohol pens. That's more for just stamping and sort of leaving it as is rather than colouring. So that's more for your sentiments or your line work. When it comes to stamping anything and colouring it using your alcohol pens, your alcohol-proof ink pad is the one to go for. And then alongside that, you're going to go for your alcohol marker card. So alcohol-proof ink pad, alcohol pens, and alcohol marker card. Hopefully, it's sort of self-explanatory, but it's always good to have a refresher.
And it's easier to remember now as well, because it's called, and you'll find it on the web as alcohol marker card. I can understand, like, back along when it's called Nina card. Yeah. People might get a bit more confused, but we've hopefully made it easier now for you to be able to shop for what you need.
I've just had a thought as well. We had that bundle earlier on Cartload where we had the Spectrum Noir. It was a freebie. You had your Spectrum Noir alcohol marker paper pad. I can't remember what was in the rest of the bundle. It had Colorista in it. You had your Colorista fine liners, you had your art markers, and you had your alcohol marker pad from Spectrum Noir. That will work a dream as well. So that will be great with all those alcohol markers, whether it's Colorista, whether it's Spectrum Noir, any brand at all. It's going to give you those optimum results.
Ooh, the questions. Still got 4 questions here. Keep me topped up. Come on. This is a great question from Love to Create LC, who says, is it better, Lily, to take an ink pad to the stamp or the stamp to the ink pad?
Fabulous question, love it. That is a great question. Gold star, we love that question. So, especially, not just you getting gold stars.
No, not just me.
Not just you.
No.
Any good question, you'll get a gold star. Not literally before anyone starts suing us.
Oh,
We're
yes.
not going to send you a gold star.
Lily
it's
said...
a metaphorical gold star.
Yes.
Just imagine it.
Yeah.
So, especially when it comes to a larger stamp, and I don't know if you guys at home are the same. When I first started stamping, I'd be taking my stamp and I'd be like, trying to wiggle it left, right, this side, the other side, to try and get it into the ink pad. It's very difficult to do with a larger stamp especially. But in order to get the most even coverage of ink, it's definitely top tip to go directly from the ink pad onto the stamp rather than vice versa. That's just going to allow you to get that even coverage of ink. Makes it a lot easier to make sure you're not over or under inking. So definitely ink pad to the stamp. The only slight exception, and I don't have any stamps that are that small here. If you have a tiny, like a diddy little stamp, like a tiny, maybe about a centimetre, I would quite often actually take that directly into the ink pad rather than the other way around. But anything that's more than like a centimetre, sort of a standard size stamp, I definitely recommend ink pad to the stamp. It's just going to give you that best coverage of ink.
Next question. There's loads now. This is brilliant. So
You've
Hillary's
scared
question.
The poor people. That's
I know.
what it is.
I know. Because I am very scary, aren't I? Look at my scary face.
Oh, it's terrifying. Oh dear.
Yeah, very scary. Hillary says, what? I'm just going to read this out. Hillary says, I am scared of Ben.
Oh, no.
Lol, could you use the colour bloom on the resist pads and bloom them on the resist?
Yes, I don't see why not. The only thing I'm thinking is the resist pad, it's kind of a little bit of a shiny surface, sort of like a watercolour card, but you can use your water reactives on them, so...
Should we get a piece and try?
If we've got any about, then absolutely. Jake got a shout out early, where's he now?
Oh, yeah. Maybe if I set you up with this next question, I can run out and get a sheet.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, so Karen Wells-Sorrell. Hello, Karen.
Hello.
When you use the shaving cream technique on cardstock, will the aqua ink used fade away over time if the cardstock is stored out of the sunlight?
That's a good question. I do believe our pens are light fast. That's quite a short question.
It was. Sorry, that
We'll
wasn't
have
a
a
great
long
one
one,
to
but
ask
yes,
you.
Karen, I do believe our pens should be light fast, so you should be okay.
We need a piece of our one of our resist pads. Yeah, just a resist pad. Anyone will do.
Any old scrap. We'll take anything.
Any old scrap.
Any old scrap.
Hi, Ben and Lily, says Amanda. It's been a while since I've been joining in the conversations. I'm watching, but I'm working at the same time.
Oh.
I always love watching stamping. There's always something new. All right, just whilst we wait for Jake to get us that resist. Martha Franklin. Hello, Martha.
Hello.
Good morning, CTV crew and crafty peeps. How would you use white linen card, Lily?
Oh, that's a good question. You can have a gold star as well because I absolutely love linen card. Now, you can use it, special delivery, thank you. You can use it in exactly the same way that you would a regular card, but it's just going to give you, makes that little touch of texture. I always think, and I know Craig agrees, I always think your linen card gives that really expensive look and feel to your projects. So any way that you regularly use your white cardstock, if you just want to change the look and feel ever so slightly, bring in your linen card, especially if you're making something like wedding stationery. It looks amazing for wedding stationery. But you can still stamp onto it, you can still emboss it, you can still die cut it. It's got a slight texture, so it's a lot less of a texture compared to like if something had been embossed. It's just an ever so slight texture. What I would say actually, a top tip though when it comes to stamping onto linen card, I would probably not use a rocker block. I would probably go for a stamping platform. Reason being is because you've got sort of those pits and peaks within the cardstock, what can happen is you don't get that perfect stamped impression first time. So I tend to use a stamping platform because then if I've not got that first impression perfect or as sort of crisp as I like it to be, I'll re-ink that stamp and I'll re-stamp over the top, and that will hopefully second time round be able to get into all those little pits in the cardstock to give you a lovely stamped impression. But yeah, linen card is a great one to have in your crafty stash.
Shall we experiment with that resist pad now? See if it works.
Let's do it. So let's get our summer bouquet. I might this time I'll take a blending tool and I'll go on the blending tool rather than directly onto the card. Okay. Got our summer bouquet. That's a bit far away. Let's move that a little bit closer.
So if you just joined us, it was a question from Hillary asking whether the colour blooms would bloom on a resist pad. We weren't quite sure. Question. We thought maybe, didn't you?
We were hopeful. We're hopeful. Yeah. I'll have a little look. It's going down lovely. So even if it doesn't bloom, it's still going to give you a lovely blend onto your resist pads.
Yeah.
It would be nice, actually, a little bit better if I've got a square blending tool just so I can cover a bit of a larger area. But this one will still do the job nicely, just be a little bit more time consuming, which is another question we get asked quite a lot, difference between your circle and your square blending tools. If I'm covering a large area, say if I was going to ink this whole sheet, then I'd be going for my square or rectangle as we know it to be, whereas your round one is great for sort of small areas or a little bit more detailed
And
areas.
just again, a question. So earlier when you were using this pad, you went straight into the cardstock with the pad. Why this time do you use the tool?
I thought I'd want a little bit more of a subtle technique, whereas before we just wanted to show you the technique, whereas now try and make it look a bit more pretty. But I'll show you on the other half. We'll go direct so you can see the sort of difference.
Oh, yeah.
Going to get sort of more of an intense, but a bit more grungy if you like, a bit
Not
more
as precise,
rustic.
is it?
Yeah, a bit more textured. But then we could always go back in over the top with our blending tool and just blend it out a little bit more. So that's going to give you the more intense colour. So we've got a bit of a 2-for-1 here. We've got two shots at getting it to bloom. So we've got our ink down. Next stage, as we now know, is to give it a little blast with the old heat gun.
Oh, yes.
There we go. So we'll just give that a nice dry off. Now don't worry about the ink is going to stick ever so slightly to the resist. We will give it a little wipe in just a moment just to get rid of any of that that's settled onto the resist. And because it's a water-based ink pad, it won't dry onto the resist. So we don't need to worry if we do have a little bit of ink on there to start with. There we go, that should just about do us that. I'll just get a piece of dry kitchen towel now and I'll just wipe over so we can see that resist a little bit better onto there. And then we'll grab our spritzer, there it is, looking right at me. And we'll just give this a nice little spritz on the left and the right hand sides. Just make sure we've got plenty of water on there.
Looks like it's coming out already on the right hand
Yeah,
side.
it's blooming a little bit there, especially on the right hand side because obviously it's a lot more intensity in terms of colour there. You can see it especially in the centre there. It's starting to bloom quite nicely. So the answer is yes, absolutely.
Nice.
Technique I've not tried before, but fabulous question. You can see it quite nicely there. Actually, you can see how it's starting to go pink.
Yeah.
Because with this colour, it tends to go down more of like an orange-yellow colour, and then as it blooms, you can see all that pink coming to the fore there. And obviously, as that dries, as that ink has more time to react, it's going to become even more prominent as well. But what a lovely technique. Love that.
Brilliant. And I also love that, you know, and I feel like you don't get this anywhere else in the fact that you ask us a question and we're not quite sure, we'll try it out for you.
Of course we will, yeah.
You know, because we would rather we try it and it not work and then you not having to kind of like waste your cardstock or whatever it may be. We'd rather waste ours and so that, you know, you can keep using yours. So anything you're ever not sure of and you want to try but you're too scared to, ask our lot because they're not scared to try stuff out. You're not scared, yeah.
And for me personally, I think it's one of the most fun parts of crafting, the fact that you can have an experiment, have a little play. At the end of the day, it's a bit of card, it's a bit of ink. If it goes a little bit wrong, if it's not exactly how you want it to be, it is not the end of the world. That's what it's all about. It's all about having a little play, a little experiment, see how things work together. Because if we just did the same thing day in, day out because we know it works, there's no fun in that. We want to try new things, push our stash to its limits. That's what it's all about.
Sandy says, you don't scare me, Ben. I scare myself.
Oh.
I'm not scary, really, am I?
No.
And Shazza says, hey, Ben and Lilly and team, no questions, just wanted to say hi from beautiful Torbados. Woo! Sunshine there again today, is it? Probably 20 degrees, wall to wall. Always is down my neck of the woods.
Yeah, that's for sure.
No, it isn't.
Quite cold out today.
It is, isn't it? We got 20 degrees on Saturday, though.
Are we?
Yeah.
Finally, when the time I have a Saturday off, it's going to be nice weather.
There you go. Shazza's sending the sun up from Torbados.
Thank you,
It'll
Shazza.
arrive here just in time for Saturday. Cheers, Shazza. We have got some more questions coming through, but I think we're going to have a short break. So, Sparkly Sue got your question. Rhonda got your question. And any more you want to fire in? I've got 2 currently, so add yours to the line and we will get those asked in just a few moments' time. We'll meet back here in about 4 minutes.
Hi, my name is Sherry Jackson, and I have been a fan of Crafter's Companion for at least 7 or 8 years now. I love Crafter's TV. I mean, what's not to love about it? They've got great products, great prices, great people that work there for them. The customer service is great. The presenters are great. Demonstrators are great. Everyone there is great. I just love all the products. I love the tutorials we get. I love all the demonstrations, the craft-alongs, the master classes. Not only do you sell the products, but you teach everyone how to use it. I love the interaction on Crafters TV. I love the fun, the game, the prizes. There's just so much about Crafters TV. There's nothing not to love about Crafters TV. You guys have been there for me. I feel like you guys are my family. I'm widowed and live alone, and every day I look forward to watching Crafters TV, whether I watch it live or whether I go back and watch the reruns. I get so much inspiration and tips and tricks from everyone there at Crafters Companion, and I love all of you, and I'm so thankful for Crafters TV.
Welcome to Club Inspire, the Crafters Companion community where you can feed your crafty obsession. Join our fantastic loyalty program today and receive 250 points to help get you started. Other benefits to joining Club Inspire include special members-only sales, and you can receive discounts or exclusive access to products, and even free gifts. You will receive 1 point for every pound, dollar or euro that you spend. And the more points you receive, the more benefits you'll unlock. See if you can craft your way up to our ultimate Club Inspire tier, Platinum, where you'll enjoy the very best discounts and rewards that we offer. As you keep climbing through the club, you can actually reach Platinum Plus and even Platinum for life. The more points you collect, the more you will be rewarded within our amazing special Club Inspire community. So, what are you waiting for? Sign up, join the club and start rewarding yourself today.
Missed your favourite Crafters TV shows this week? Feel like you've missed out on the best crafting deals? Don't worry, we've got you covered. Join us for Second Chance Sunday, your ultimate catch-up on the top 10 deals, demos and must-see moments from the past week. From incredible discounts to inspiring crafting, this is your second chance to grab the best of the best. But hurry, these deals won't last long. Tune in to Second Chance Sunday only on Crafters TV, because every crafter deserves a second chance. You do know this isn't a real door, don't you?
Hi everybody, this is Lynn Bledsoe. You asked me why I like or I love Crafters Companion. Well, it's because I'm not a very good crafter and Crafters Companion makes me look better. It makes me look like a better crafter than I am because I'm not good at design. So I have the layout collection that helps me with design. I don't like to do the same thing over and over. So I have a template library that gives me lots of new ideas and card bases and things to try. I never know what to put on the inside of the card, so I have the compendiums that have all the sayings for cards, and I never know what color combinations to put together and what goes with what, and so all their collections make it easy for me to know what to do. So that is why I love Crafters Companion, because they make me look like a better crafter and give me ways to do things that I haven't tried before. Thanks, bye.
Okay, we've got some very exciting news for our US customers. We have been working very hard for you behind the scenes, and there is something brand new for you on the website. If you visit the homepage, you will see our brand new tariff-free category. Now, let me explain this. Products in the category are not going to have tariffs applied to them where the order value is under $800. Products not in this category will still be subject to new US tariff charges. So remember, you're looking for blue tariff-free tags. It will be visible on the product pages as you're seeing. just above the product name, and you'll see it on product pictures if you're shopping our website. To make it as easy as possible, what we've done is we've put them all in one category, which you can click straight to right from the home page as you're seeing. Now, you can absolutely add products from other categories into your basket, but if it's something from a different category or you go over the $800 threshold, you will see the required tariff charges applied when you check out. So that's what we've done. As I say, we're trying to do as much as we can here to help you out, and hopefully that's just sort of a starting point for you. But as I say, head to the home page, click on that, the tariff-free category section, and you'll see lots of items there that you will start to shop for. Right, shall we get back to some more questions? Pat says, oh, we'll have to go. So I'll just be listening till the end of the show. Thank you, Lily, for all the wonderful tips. And Ben, thank you for the smiles and laughs this morning. Well, that's what we're here for. Good morning, Christine Mahoney. Hello, Stephanie Theodos, who says, hi again, Lily and Ben. Sitting at the apartment, so I will watch from the beginning later on. We did have somebody asking about quick dries a little bit earlier. We've got bundles of all the different ink pads across the show. So the quick dries, which we've touched on, we have got in a bundle of 8 for you. For your platinum, £24, so £3 a pad, which is, I think, great value for money. The colours you've got within the set: Sandstorm, Plum Jam, Studio. I belong in the studio. You've also got Parakeet. You've got Pale Fig. You have got Green Topaz, the Friar Brown, that stunning orange, and then you've got Crushed Velvet in there as well. So those are the 8 items that you have got within that bundle. Faye says, great news, Ben. Thank you to all the team that have made the changes to the website happen. As we said, we'll always do as much as we can to try and help you out, and hopefully there'll be more good news down the line as well. But we're doing our very best, as you guys appreciate. And thank you for all the positivity over the last few days. Right, couple of questions. I've got 2 more, and then that's it. So fire them in, please. Don't wait around. We've got a question from Sparkly Sue, who says, hi, Lily and Ben.
Hello.
Is mixed media... Hello.
Hello.
Is mixed...
Like Teletubbies, that, wasn't it? Hello.
Hello. Is mixed media card suitable for watercolouring and alcohol markers?
Oh, that's a good question. It's not one that we have in our range
No.
here at Crafter's Companion, but I do believe it's more for your water-based mediums, but when it comes to our range here at Crafter's Companion, we've got our multi-purpose card, which is sort of your all-rounder. Not brilliant for watercolour, not brilliant for alcohol markers, but great for your construction, great for your card bases, great for your stamping. When it comes to your watercolour mediums, definitely go for your watercolour cardstock. And when it comes to your alcohol pens, go for your alcohol marker card. Hopefully that helps.
It certainly does. Another question which has come in from, if I can find it. Oh, crash.
Oh dear.
Here we are.
Oh.
Rhonda, if you accidentally mix up all of your papers, how would you tell whether or not it would be good for alcohol markers?
That is a great question, actually. Really, really good question in terms of sort of deciphering which card is which. So when it comes to watercolour card, that's the one that I'd say is most different in terms of our white cardstock, because it has, like we described it earlier, it has almost like a slight texture, like an orange peel to it. So if you find that one of your cards has got that slight texture to it, it's not super smooth, it's a little bit textured, then that's going to be your one that's your watercolour cardstock. The cardstock that's the smoothest, that's literally super, super, super smooth, almost like a velvety smooth, is going to be your alcohol marker card. Although your multi-purpose card is still pretty smooth, it's not quite as smooth as your alcohol marker card. And the other difference is your alcohol marker card is a little bit thinner. It's about 216 GSM versus your 300 GSM, which is your standard multi-purpose card. So you see, if you put them sort of side by side, it's a little bit thinner when it comes to your alcohol marker card. So it's smoother, it's thinner, whereas your watercolour card, it's nice and thick, nice and sturdy, not super smooth, and it's got a slight texture to it. So hopefully that helps.
A couple more comments, another question which has come through as well. The comments, lots of positivity around that little announcement. Sarah at Park says, this is what makes Crafter's Companion so special, all the hard work for the customers. And Cindy Conley says, wowza, Ben, great news. Go CC. One more reason to continue to love and adore you. And Pat says, big thank you for the new tariff-free category. I am so excited. Yep, go and have a look. It'll be there on the homepage now. It's those blue ticked or those blue circled items that you're looking for. And again, I can recap on anything. If you need me to recap on the details, I can. I've got it all written down here, so you can ask and I can repeat if you need. Faye Smith says, will unopened ink pads remain good until opened, or would they dry out?
They should remain, if they're airtight, if they're sealed all around the edge and they're airtight, they should remain absolutely fine. So having said that, I've had a lot of my ink pads for quite a few years that are opened, and they are pretty all right, to be perfectly honest with you, because the lids, as long as you're keeping the lids on, they are pretty airtight, so they should last a very, very long time. Top tip is when they do sort of come towards the end of their lifespan. Sounds a bit sad, doesn't it? That?
It does, actually, yeah.
What I would say, top tip is then I'd just be storing my ink pads upside down. I have all the ink pad storage trays in the universal carry bags when I store mine at home. I have them all sort of that way up, but as they come towards the end of their lifespan, I'll actually pop them upside down, and that will help get the very last dregs of your ink out of your ink pad. But yeah, if they are sealed, then they should be absolutely fine for many, many years. But I would like to know, why are your ink pads sealed? Get the seal off. Get playing with them. We don't want them sealed. They're no good having the lids on and sealed and not used. Get using them, get playing.
There you go, it's you told.
Not just you that's pointing your finger at
Yeah, exactly. We're all on it today.
Dear, oh dear.
Stephanie says, I don't know if you heard, Ben, but I couldn't find my quick dry inks. Oh no.
Oh.
I looked high and low. I ordered a small bundle like this one, and you guessed it.
Found them.
I found my huge CC travel storage bag with trays full of quick dries. Now I have plenty. Well, that's all right, isn't it? You can always use spares.
Future-proof.
That's it.
What it is, future-proof.
I've answered all the questions. Well, I haven't answered them. I've asked all the questions, and you've answered all the questions so far. Is there anything that you want to go on? We're probably going to do about another 20 minutes or so. Is there anything that you particularly want to see in the comments? Feel free to fire up and ask. Any particular kind of... I suppose we could look more at the ink pads that we've got in this bundle, because we certainly didn't get through them all, did we?
Yeah. I'll tell you what we do. We'll have a little bit of a play.
Okay.
That's what it's all about. So we're going to start off with some of our watercolour card, and we'll start by focusing on, I'll tell you what we focus on. We'll focus on our water reactive ink pads. So often you see us taking our blending tools, doing our blending background spritz with water, which is a great technique, but there's so much more besides that we can actually do with these fantastic ink pads. So we'll grab one of these little stamps here. Let's go for this lovely little flower here. So we'll grab our flower, we'll place it onto our rocker block. Oh, right way around, there we go. And then we'll just take our water reactive ink pad in our crushed velvet. So we'll just ink up. That's a bit loud, sorry, it sounds like somebody's tapping at the door. We'll just ink up.
In.
Hello, anybody there?
I've just heard, by the way, as well, more deals are getting added already to that tariff-free category on the website. So there's over 200 items there. So do make sure you're going to have a look on US Chums.
Absolutely. Get in there, have a little shop around, see what's on there. So it's stamped using our water reactive ink pad, and then what we'll do is we'll grab our paintbrush. This is a technique that I absolutely love, never gets old, this one. We've got a damp paintbrush, or you could use a water brush if you prefer. Just making sure you've got a little bit of water, not too much. And then what you can do with your water reactives is you can actually pull that colour out of your image there. So because they are blendable with water, you can actually dilute that line there. So if you just try and move my hand out of the way so you can see it a little bit better. You can just pull that colour out, and you can start to actually colour in that stamped image. If you're getting those ombre ink pads, because I know they're water-based, they're water reactive.
Yeah.
What you can be doing is, because they're a little bit small and you can get into all that fine detail, what you could be doing is you could be inking up the flower in all different colours. So you could be having your stem in your greens, you could be having your petals in a different colour, and then you can just start to pull all that colour out and start to watercolour just by stamping in a colour and then just pulling the colour out, which is a lovely
I think if you do want those, by the way, we were very limited on the amount of those that we had left. I think Johnny said earlier, the ombre ink pad. So if you've got a mind to grab those, get those into your basket sooner rather than later. There's literally a handful of those remaining, single figures if you want those. We used those on our last show together, didn't we?
Oh, we did, yeah.
We created lovely cards, created the...
Vincent
Starry Day.
Yeah, Starry Day, yeah.
I've given that away since. Michael, you won that. I will apologise. It is still on the desk outside. We haven't sent it yet, but it will be sent. So if you're waiting for that, you're probably checking the post every morning. I know what it's like. It will be on its way.
It will be at some unspecified point. So that's a nice, quick and simple technique, just dragging that colour out using your water reactives. Let's have a little play with another one. Let's grab another of these stamps here and show you another different ink pad in action. So I will take our lovely little flower here. So I'll take our flower, we'll pop that onto our rocker block, and this time we'll take one of our waterproof ink pads. If we're going to be doing any sort of watercolouring, then we need to make sure it's nice and waterproof. Just ink up all over that stamp, and then we just stamp out our flower onto our cardstock. So just rocking from heel to toe, making sure we're exerting plenty of pressure, and that gives you that lovely stamped line, just like so. This time we're going to grab, let's go for our duet ink pad. Grab our Sailor's Wake duet ink pad, and this time we're going to pop that onto our glass mat.
Yep.
So just smooshing out that colour, and we'll grab our paintbrush once again, and we'll just pick up some of that colour onto our paintbrush, and you can see I can turn all of your ink pads, all of your water-based ink pads, almost like into paints. So you can start to paint using all of these ink pads, which is a fab technique. And what you have to remember as well, all of those water-based ink pads, so things like your duets, your water reactives, you can sort of mix and match those two together. So if you've got areas of the image that you want to colour in your water reactive and areas that you want to do in your duet ink pads, by all means you can do that. They both work in a similar way in terms that you can paint with both of those. But you can just go in picking up that paint off your glass mat. You can actually start to paint using your ink pads, which is a pretty cool technique. So just go in and just start to fill out that colour. It's a nice fun way of adding colour to your stamped image and giving you that sort of watercolour effect, but without having to be really advanced when it comes to your painting. And you can just start to build up those layers, build up that light and shade. The less water you add to dilute that ink, the darker that colour is going to be. So it's going to give you the areas of shade onto your image. But you can see very quickly we're just starting to lay down that colour. Even with a very, very intricate stamp like this one, it gives that lovely effect by just bringing in that colour just like so.
Beautiful, that. Look at that.
Easy as that. Nice
Incredible.
and quick and easy. Right, so that's a little bit of painting. So a couple of different techniques of painting using a couple of different ink pads. So using your water reactive and using your duets as well. And then we'll bring in, tell you what we'll do a little bit of stenciling. So we've not done any stenciling yet. So we'll grab some of the stencils that we've got with our lovely bundle with all of our stamps that we've been using already.
Oh, yes.
So we'll grab this one, which is part of that Art Elements collection. I'll move my water out of the way. We've finished with that for now. And we'll take our one of our stencils. Let's go for the leaf design. It's a lovely design, this one. So this time around, we'll bring in one of our, opaque pigment. We've not done an awful lot with these just yet. So we've got our Misty Morning opaque pigment, and I'm just going to grab one of my blending tools. Little finger daubers is what we'll use for this one. I'm trying to find one that's the right colour. Let's have a little look as to what we've got here.
There must be one, surely.
We'll have to change the colour up. I can't find a grey, so we'll have to go for a green. So I'll just grab another ink pad, crafting on the hoof here as we are. Let's go for, that's a quick try. Oh dear, I've got the wrong one. Opaque pigment. Let's go for our grasshopper. There we go. So we've got our grasshopper opaque pigment, just to show that you can of course be using these for things other than just with your heat embossing. So you can still do all your blending with them. So we're just going to take our little blending tool here, and because it's such a detailed stencil, it works a lot better to be using your little finger daubers just to get into all that detail. And we're just going to rub that colour onto that leaf there. You can do the sort of blending techniques that we do with our alcohol pens as well, so we can start to bring in light and shade. So I'm going to have it a little bit darker down the centre of our leaf there and fading out to a little bit lighter along the edges there. And it really doesn't look like an awful lot until you actually peel back that stencil and have that big reveal of what you've got underneath. So you can just go around like so. If you've got a really, really detailed stencil, I know some of the stencils that we had as part of our silhouette stencil and die collection, some of those were really, really intricate. And I find if you've got a really intricate stencil, rather than rubbing around in circular motions, I'll tend to sort of work the ink into the stencil by sort of rotating round in circular motions. And that will allow you to get into all those nooks and crannies of those really small, intricate little stencils that we have. But just going around, starting to add some of that colour. What you could be doing as well, if you're adding a little bit more of that ink, being a little bit more heavy-handed with your pigment ink, after you've actually gone around and stenciled all that design, you could then be adding some of your clear embossing powder over the top if you like, which would give you a really nice sort of extra finishing touch to this one. But if we then just peel back our stencil. You can see there, how cool does that look? Using your opaque pigment ink pads onto a background, just like so onto those leaves. So nice and easy technique. And I'll tell you what you could do actually, which we will do, is we've got quite a lot of our ink still left on this stencil here. So what I'll do is I'll flip this piece of cardstock over. I'll take my spritzer and I'll just give this little spritz of water onto where we've got that ink. Just like so. On my water spritzer's not got an awful lot left in, so hopefully we've got enough for this technique. And then we'll just take our piece of cardstock and we'll just turn that over. Give that a nice little press over, and then hopefully we should have a little bit of a ghost print onto there. You can of course bring in a brayer just to try and transfer that ink a little bit more, or just dab on the back of there to try and transfer some of that ink onto our card. You can see there, very subtle sort of ghost print. You've got almost like the negative. Try and catch that in the light. You can see it just in the centre
yeah, just
there.
about, yeah.
Just about. You get that ghost print onto your cardstock. So almost like a 2-for-1 using your opaque pigments.
Thank you everybody for the comments coming through. Thank you so much for the tariff-free label, says Hannah Furnace. This is so helpful for us USA shoppers. Yeah, what I would say as well there is keep checking back to that section of the website. So remember, you'll see it on the homepage, the tariff-free category. It's right there, and it is those deals with the blue tariff-free tag on it. Okay, and I've literally just got this information, so apologies for like looking down and reading it. So products in that category will not have tariffs applied to them where the order value is under $800. Okay, so that's the sort of threshold. So they're not subject to new US tariff charges. So there you go. You literally just click on the tariff-free section and it will bring up all of the products there. So no tariffs under the value of $800. Everything that is blue labelled with that tariff-free is what you're looking for. And like we've shown you here, we've put it into that one category for you. So everything is there in one easy category. We're hoping that we can add more items into that. So do keep checking back. And just to reiterate, you can add other products from other categories into your basket. But if it's something from a different category, or you do go over that $800 threshold, you'll see the required tariff charges applied when you check out. So as I say, we're doing as much as we can this end. We can appreciate the frustration, and obviously it's a new thing for us as well, so we're feeling it as well, but we're doing as much as we can, and hopefully this is just the start for you. So we appreciate all the lovely comments that have come in as well. So delve in, dive in, have a look. If you've missed your kind of crafty retail therapy, there's a start for you at the very least. So have a look on the website. Question from Rose has come in. She's, thank you, Rose. She says, if you stamp an image with a watercolour ink pad,
yes,
and then spray the image, would that work, or would it just look like a mess?
It would work, so let's give it a go.
Here we go, Rose.
Let's grab a piece of our watercolour card. Because we're going to be adding water to it, then watercolour card is going to be the best one to go for. So we'll take our rock block once again, and we'll grab another of these lovely little floral stamps from that set. We'll go in with our water reactive ink pads. These are water-based. You could be doing a similar technique with your duet ink pads. You could be doing a similar technique with your... Oh, you could be doing it with your colour bloom, actually. That would work quite nicely. Or even your opaque pigment. But we'll go with our water reactive for this particular little technique here. So ink up with our crushed velvet, and then once again we'll just go in and stamp heel to toe with our rocker blocks, and then that gives us that lovely stamped image. But instead of pulling the colour out this time, we'll bring in our water spritzer, and all we're going to do is just, oh, I do like that technique. There you go.
Nice.
Great for your backgrounds. It just gives you that lovely sort of grungy, diffused look onto there, which looks absolutely fabulous. Love that technique. So yes, it definitely works.
Jay Pressy says, OMG, wonderful. Thank you, CC. You are the best. Very quickly, we're going in about 6 or 7 minutes. So if you've got any final questions, make sure you fire those in to us. And then tonight, don't forget, live at 5. We have got another look at the goodies in our cartload section on the website for you. So some great deals to be snatched up there. This is our stamping goodie bag. So we've had a good look around the Inkpad Taster. So this one's really nice because whereas that Inkpad Taster bag has got all the different ways to be able to stamp on all the different ink pads in it, this has got the things in there, the stamps that you'll be using alongside the ink pad. So within this set, you are going to get, and the price is incredible really, when you consider you should be paying nearly £68, $87 for all of this. You'll get all of the stamps from the jackpot Vintage Vegas collection. So you've got things in there like You're the Jackpot, funnily enough, Your Ace, All In to Win, Cha-Ching, which is the one that Lilly was stamping with at the start of the show. You've also got Viva Las Vegas. And what's really nice about this actually is you've got a lot of stamp and die sets in here like this one. So that Grateful and Blessed, which allows you to be able to make your cornucopia.
That's the one.
That was the thing, wasn't it? Where did I pluck that one from?
I know.
Lots of talk about cornucopia, wasn't there?
Wasn't there?
Back end of last year.
I can't remember anything about it, but yeah, I can remember the word, that's about it.
It was for harvest, wasn't it, and Thanksgiving?
Yeah, more Thanksgiving, I think, more of a US thing.
Yeah, cornucopia. You've got lovebirds in there as well. Nice, actually, if you picked up the lovebirds pad that we've got on sale as part of our cartload show a little bit later on, you can match that beautiful stamp and die set up with those beautiful papers. The flora and fauna, do you know what? This is a collection I feel like I barely saw. I don't know, I probably launched it.
You were probably on holiday, that'll probably be why.
Oh, is that what it was? Probably on holiday.
But once again, yeah, probably.
When was this launched? Ooh. Was it this year?
Yeah, it was earlier in the year. Maybe February, March, something like that.
Well, anyway, it was a lovely collection from what I can remember.
Which is not a lot.
Which is not a lot. And you got the B stamp and die in there. I've just heard it's going to be on Friday Night Live tomorrow.
Is it?
Apparently.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I'll be able to have a good look at it there, won't I?
An exclusive there.
Yeah. You heard it here first, folks. Then you've got one of our outline stamp and dies, which is the Wilderness Voyager. That is the wolf. And the sentiment you get there is wishing you a wild birthday. Then you've got your love letters. This is super cute as well because you've got stamps and dies in there to be able to create the little envelope, and then the die has the little slip where you would put your little note, and then you can stick that note in there with your little message on there, which reads, roses are red, violets are blue, the dog is my favourite, but you're okay too.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
That is brilliant. That is literally me to Laura.
Uh-huh. There you go.
And she knows it. No, I love them all equally, honestly. You've got also Will You Be My Valentine and I Love You. Then you've got the stamps from the Majestic Unicorn collection. So some beautiful sentiments in there. Things like You Are Magical, Have a Magical Day, Happy Birthday, I Believe in You, and Follow Your Dreams. And then you have got the patchwork creator card die from that brilliant collection we brought you back along, and that is the Morning Sunrise. So £68, $87 worth of value within the bag. You can see the price on the screen there. So a really, really good deal to be bagged today. And if you're getting that for £20 platinum, or as a new shopper like Penelope and Maria, you might want to jump in and grab the Inkpad Taster Bag as well, because for £44 for your first shop today, you'll get everything. And actually, it's been really lovely because Lily's taken us through all the different sort of ink pads you're going to be getting here, chatted a lot about the rocker block and why you're going to need that in your life. Different types of blending tools, of course. You've got the round blending tool within this set, and then a selection of the different ink pads for you to have a bit of a play with. So duet ink pads from the Enchanted Ocean collection. And actually, if you're talking about value here, take the value of the rocker blocks and the value of the Enchanted Ocean pads here, and it's like you're getting everything else for free within the bundle. So the free blending tool, you're going to get the pearlescent pigment ink pad in the gold shimmer, that is the flame pink. We're going to give you one of those duet ink pads. So nice again, if you've just seen these for the first time today, maybe you don't want to go for the full bundle, maybe you just want to try it out yourself. We've given you the summer bouquet in there. You've also got one of our metallic pigment ink pads as well. Oh, he's messing it all up now.
Oh,
you've got the blush. You've also got the water reactive crushed velvet. You've got our opaque pigment in the sandstorm. On the end here is the Friar Brown quick dry, and then you've got another opaque just down here, which is your Misty Morning. So a lovely selection of all of them for a fabulous beginner bundle price of just £24, 32 bucks, but of course, obviously the tariffs come into play here, but they don't come into play if you check out the homepage of the website and click on the tariff-free category. You will see it there. Check out all of those fabulous deals. Lily, thank you so much. That hour and a half has absolutely flown over, and I feel like we got through a lot there.
I think we did. We answered all the questions, so hopefully we help you guys at home in terms of your stamping your ink pads. It's been a fun show. I've very much enjoyed it. Yeah, and we will do it all over again in about an hour and a half's time. Be here with us for Cartload. All the deals are live for you on the website, so shop the day there. As I say, our US viewers, check out that new tariff-free category over on the website. Until then, happy shopping. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.